What?
Oh, so you don't want any right now? That's what you're saying.
Oh, I forgot to put some in mine.
Oh, hey, welcome to the Blockument, where we show people how much we don't drink.
Oh, we're live.
With our breakfast bourbon. Say when.
Okay, let's go.
All right.
Good
It's going to be
Lord.
a good show. Welcome back to the Blockument. Crypto education through everyday conversation. You almost threw me off there.
Who am I?
I'm Nate Talbot, the executive director of Detroit Blockchain Center. And to my right is
I'm waiting for an adjective. Here we go.
the glowing
Ashlee Rose.
Right.
I am an everyday mother. I'm an online reseller, and I'm on a journey to figure out what in the heck is going on with all this crypto, Bitcoin, blockchain, blah, 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 and stuff. I don't want to call it nonsense, but because it makes sense.
All right. We got us a special guest in the house today. To my left, we have the... Oh, man, let me be respectful.
Yeah.
We have the eloquent Mr.
My mic sound nice. Oh, it's on? Is this thing on?
Oh, we
Hello.
can hear you.
Okay. Oh, my hair's getting my plug up. I got you. So, Milds Dixon, I'm the marketing director of Podcast Sick / owner, I guess, of Podcast Sick. And I just want to know what the hell is going on with Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin?
That's right. That's where we are.
What is it?
That's what we got. So we have...
I'm glad I could be formal dressing when I'm here.
Right.
We are as well.
Okay.
Yep. So, right. Me and Mr. Dixon here go back a couple years.
Couple.
Well, you know.
You were slim.
So my granddad here,
Oh my gosh.
we see what kind of episode this will be.
Yeah.
But he has questions about Bitcoin.
Pure chaos.
And all of this stuff. And I think we got answers.
There we
Ashlee
go.
got answers.
Yeah.
So before we dig into it, though, what's the block time here? What are we talking about?
Okay.
The volume.
Mute that.
You gotta cut the volume down. It's just popping on.
We told you it's chaos.
Yes.
It is
Okay.
chaos.
Chaotic
It's that
Sunday
one right
morning.
There you go.
See?
There you go.
We're going to get it together.
Is that me?
It's Nate. Okay. I thought he was smarter than that.
Man. All right. Well,
Oh, we got it?
Yeah, we got it.
Maybe it was me.
It was Nate. It's his fault.
this is
All
what
right,
happens when you
guys.
go live.
Yeah.
This is how you know when we're live.
This is how you know it's real.
That's right. So,
All right. So, anyways,
that all being said,
yeah, the block height, right,
yeah,
guys?
what block height? What time was all this chaos happening?
The block height?
So we'll explain it to you in a second. Let's get this part done.
Go ahead.
All right.
Okay, so it is 800. The block height is 821,636. The block size is 1.66 megabytes, which is comprised of 4,102 transactions. And the subsidies and fees is 10.697 Bitcoin, which equals 447,654
Now all these different numbers, but all right, close enough.
Wait, what block? Is it the same block? Yeah, ends in 636.
636. But remember, we talked about this before, depending on where they're pumping the price feeds from.
Wow.
This
Right.
one's a real one this time, though, because it really shows that to me here.
I believe you.
This is all
And so this is something we can.
But the winner is Antpool.
The winner is Ampool. But remember, Bitcoin is Bitcoin, right? And this is
Yeah.
going to sort of lead us into this guy's questions, right?
What the hell is Bitcoin?
There is 10.697 Bitcoin.
Right, so that was...
Bitcoin doesn't care about dollars. We do.
Right.
Right.
And so when you're pumping in the price,
Some of
this
us
isn't
do.
coming from Bitcoin. This has to come from, the price according to who?
Right.
And so on your record, that price might be according to Coinbase. On my record, that price might be according to Kraken. Right? A different
Right.
exchange.
Right.
And so that's why the dollar number might be different, even though we're talking about the exact same amount of Bitcoin.
Right.
Because that's off chain, so you have to ask somebody, and you're just happen to ask somebody different than I'm asking.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right? So that all being said,
I'm looking at that diagram. It look like that's a scanner for the police to let the people know what the hood is. When it look like a neighborhood, don't it?
it does look like neighborhood. These are the blocks.
There you go.
Which
are
is
hot.
interesting because that's what my I have an analogy I'm going to tell you that has to deal with something similar to that.
Well, break
Okay, well, go ahead.
it
Ashlee.
down. What's the question?
Ashlee Rose.
So when people ask what is Bitcoin, and I just learned this today, so I had some bells and whistles going off earlier, and I like kind of put this together. I don't know if it's correct, but it works in my head. So Bitcoin is an on-chain asset. Okay, so let's say that Bitcoin is a newly found land. Okay, and that land is comprised of 21 million plots of land. Okay, and each of those plots has 100 million acres. Okay, and so then in this analogy, the newly found land is Bitcoin. The 21 million plots of land is each individual Bitcoin, and then the 100 million acres are the sats, the satoshis. And so that is something that exists, and it just exists. And so when you own a piece of that, you own a piece of that land, or you own a piece of that blockchain.
That's dope.
Okay,
I like that.
so when you send a Bitcoin or a sat, so a plot of land or an acre, you can't actually send a piece of land, right? What you do is you sign over the deed or the rights to that land, and that is Bitcoin and how it works.
All right, well, game over. We're
Very
talking
good analogy.
Do you like
great
that?
analogy. That's great.
That was cool, right?
That was awesome.
Thanks.
That's awesome. So in the hood form, let me no.
Yeah.
So we got no man. Okay. But no, seriously, I think a lot of people get confused on what Bitcoin is, and so I'm here to ask the questions that I always ask you, and you used to say, look it up, or Google it. But no, you explained it to the point to where I understood it.
Thank you. Oh my gosh.
I like to ask
I
you.
So is that
literally
the end of
just
the show?
made that up.
That's the end of it. We ready to go?
All right.
You don't got no more
See you next
questions? I know you have questions.
No, I got a lot of questions, but I think even when we give analogies, right, it always the only way it's received, the people have the comprehension to receive it.
Absolutely.
In most cases, we don't.
Yeah, in reality.
In reality, we don't. So sometimes, because let's just say, we have been forced to think a particular way.
Oh yeah.
On how money operates and what it's for and things of that nature. So having a whole another idea on how it works, majority of the times it give us fear. You know what I mean? Like I asked a young lady, she was coming from the Dominican Republic yesterday. I said, well, how much is $600? And she's like, I don't know. How you not know if you just left there?
Because people don't pay attention of things that they need.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So just in its immediate form of being there yesterday,
Right.
She didn't pay no attention. So now you're trying to get people to gather what cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin is, and for 40, 50, 30 plus years they've been taught the normal way of money.
Well,
And they still don't even understand that.
I'd
That
say
part.
even worse, they haven't been taught it at all.
Yeah.
But I never blame the student. It's always the teacher.
Teacher, always.
And what happens is when you start coming down this rabbit hole, you get so excited and you know so much. You describe things that now click.
Yeah.
So while that wasn't absolutely excellent analogy with the I would just
Land.
change. Like, we don't discover land, we discover a continent. A continent has 100
okay.
plots
Yeah.
of land, and
I knew
each
there
one
was
has the
something there.
acres. But no, that was awesome.
That's
Except if you don't know anything about it, it still is like, so
Forward.
Bitcoin is land.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now it sounds like you're talking about the metaverse. So I will steal your analogy.
Okay.
So you will
Just
hear me
give me
using
credit.
that.
Yeah, you should say
It's called the ashplanation.
Oh, I like that.
The explanation.
Oh man.
I think I better ask her again.
Yep. But when it comes down to like really understanding what Bitcoin is, usually the first question I kick back to whoever is asking, I like to contextualize it around
Contextualize it.
their interpretation.
Right.
And it's like, all right, almost like what you just did for the lady, which is like, all right, well, what is money, right?
Right.
And so if your question's like, what is Bitcoin? I'd be like, it's money.
Right.
Is that enough for you?
No.
Why not? What is money then? I mean, what's wrong with it?
I get what you're saying. The reason why it would be enough for me because I'm like, well, why do I need Bitcoin? This would be a back and forth thing all the time. So I know things have to go forward, and the only way for it to go forward is for people to use things. You know me for a while, so there's been plenty of things we didn't talked about and then passed, and we didn't talked about it years. Mm-hmm. So I know Nate for like 30 plus. What you say, 30 Nate?
I'm only like 30 plus.
Your hair moves is 30 plus. But listen, but the thing is, it's things that we talked about that came to pass, and we done worked on projects, and they didn't came to pass. And I think we was first working on Snapchat, and we didn't before it was Snapchat.
Or Snapchat.
Yeah, Nate was working on the research of Snapchat before Snapchat was heard of, thought of. I
was working on it for somebody. I didn't think of the idea. Somebody else thought of the idea, and they asked us how it could happen.
Right. And so Nate told him it was going to take another $250,000 to move forward on it. He's like, I got it, but no, I can't do it. That'd be all my money.
Yeah.
And so it was years later. He called me like 5 or 6 years like, hey man, where Nate at? I'm like, on the phone with me on the line. He said, man, you think you take my idea? I said, no. Man, they got something called Snapchat out just like that. I said, listen, he told you.
Yeah.
All you gonna need to do is some funding. It's gonna take like I think they came with a total of $2 million total to get it expedited correctly, paperwork and all that, and he didn't want to move on it. $250,000 just to get it started, and then it was cost like $2 million to get executed with the app and everything.
Wow, I never heard that story.
Well, I mean, we got a lot of them.
We got a lot of stories.
Wow.
And it's crazy that people think I'd be lying. I'd be like, I'm not lying. It's real. So, with that being said, we've seen a lot of things happen, and Bitcoin is another thing. Nate has been a blessing to a lot of people as far as getting them informed in a proper manner to where they will want to even invest. Because a lot of things people have ideas on to think is a good thing to do. People are like, no, I'm straight, I'm okay. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So getting to what I was saying about the money part, people would never try to equate Bitcoin with cash money.
Well, it's because they don't know what it is. So we used to work with a guy named Greg. Still would work with him, but this is before Bitcoin. This is like right as Bitcoin's coming out. And had I had understood what this guy Greg was telling me at the time, because this was like 2008, yeah. This is like literally like right around the time the white paper's getting published, right? And I'm already in some of the threads where this is getting discussed, right? So like I've heard about Bitcoin since the beginning, but none of that stuff clicked. And what he said to me, we were in Eric's office down the hall from us, right? I'm working on a commercial for somebody, and Greg is there, and we're talking about money, and he's like, oh man, he's giving me all these quote unquote conspiracy theories. Yeah. He's like, when you sign a check, you're really signing a contract. What were you talking about? And that's when he showed me. Yeah. When you zoom in on the signature line of a check. Yeah. Those are words.
Yep, it's not.
It's not a contract.
No,
but no.
It's words.
It's a security. It's words. Usually, it's a security feature.
Yeah.
Because if you're faking a check, you'll put a line because you don't realize it's words.
Oh yeah.
But if you're doing security, you just put it under a magnifying glass and you be like, nope, these ain't words. This ain't a real check.
Oh wow.
So he's telling me this kind of stuff, but he's like, money isn't real. Now I've never thought about money.
Yeah.
And he's like, money is like every time you put $1 in your pocket, you're putting debt in your pocket. I'm like, shut the fuck up at that point. Yeah. I'm already done listening to you.
Right.
Now, he's absolutely right. What he didn't do is take the time and force me to understand, and it's not his fault. I wasn't ready to learn it, what money is. It's debt. And it's debt today because it's not, people would ask, what is Bitcoin? Right? Like, what makes it real? It's fake. What backs it? And so usually my retort is, well, do you think dollars are money?
Yeah. Right.
What backs the dollar? Gold? Not since like the 70s.
Yeah.
Right? So what backs the dollar? besides debt. Mm-hmm. And it literally is debt. If once you go check out our What is Money and What is Finance episodes and whatnot to really get into it. But basically, the government issues bonds and then borrows against all that money. It's like it's all debt. I'm going to borrow this money from you and I'll pay you back with some interest later, and that's how I got money now.
Big Ponzi.
It's a big old. It is.
Yeah, it is.
It is a Ponzi scheme. Yep. In the sense that anything's a Ponzi scheme, right? Some would say it's a working Ponzi scheme. I would say it's a collapsing Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
Because it's opaque. And the difference between Bitcoin and a dollar is it's not opaque, right? So I can actually see the entire financial history in Bitcoin. I have to trust the entire financial history of a dollar, right?
Right.
But yeah, so I know certain things because I've had these conversations. They kick back and I just hold on, similar to like you. It's like I have light bulb moments. And it's like,
it took
now
so
I haven't
long.
come up with one about like every sat is an acre.
Yeah.
That's sort of dope.
I'm pretty proud of that.
We should make a visualization about that. That's a really dope thing.
Thank you.
But now I'm babbling. So like, what's the deal? Do we still have questions, or have we answered it all?
No.
We can do a 20-minute show.
No, what I'm saying is so.
No.
So when people look at Bitcoin, like Nate said, man, you need to get into Bitcoin. You need to get into Bitcoin. I said, well, treat me like I treat you. If you want me to have it, then give it to me. Get it for me. He got me some Bitcoin for my birthday, right?
Aww.
So he got me like $30 worth of Bitcoin. I'm like, okay, 30 sound cool. It's worth $16,000, so I guess 30 is a start. And so no, it was actually like 9,000.
30 sats.
It was like 9,000 at that time, and then within maybe 2 days, it went up to 16,000, which means I made like 60 more bucks, right? And then I was like, shit, let me take this hot 60 off the top. How do I take it out, right? But then I found something online I could purchase with Bitcoin, and then I was like, oh, this shit really worked because I ordered it. I kept the 30 in there, and then it went up to 24. I said, damn, hold on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like $125 in my thing. I said, okay, I'm gonna leave this in here. And so Nate said, no, just hold on to it, don't spend it yet, blah, blah. I'm saying to myself, shit, I already spent it. 60 of it already.
Yeah.
But then it made me start looking into stocks. And so Nate explained to me, just look at it like a stock. I think that was the most simplest form that he gave it to me in, as far as thinking of it at that time. He said, thinking of it like a stock. It's going to go up, it's going to go down, but you'll never lose it. It's going to be yours as long as it's there. You know what I mean? Unless the whole thing just fall bottom out of it. Well, as time went, and Nate, if you can intervene, if I'm saying something incorrect, just intervene, because my brain ain't always the best. But when shut the hell up, Nate. I'm sorry. Can I cuss on the show? Oh, I did.
Hey, we're permissionless.
Too late now.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. So when he did that, I started looking at it like, okay, this is dope. So Cash App had put it on. I think it was like a year and a half later.
Probably a couple years later, but yeah.
So yeah, because I was in November. He got it from me in November. That was like 2017.
Oh,
That's
nice.
about right.
Yeah, and so
Please tell me you still have that.
Yeah, I still have it.
Okay, good.
But I changed up my wallet because I had lost the wallet I had. I lost like $118 on it because I kept taking money in and out. But collectively, totally, I probably made like $2,600 to $3,200 off of it. $30. So
And that's what, we close most shows with the quote, come for the riches, stay for the revolution, right? People come about the money, and this is sort of what we topped the show off with when I was talking about the dollar amounts and how what she was reading was different than what was shown on screen. But people are coming for the financial gains. This is a rare time in history. Non-financial advice, disclaimer, please, Gary, gangster, Gensler, don't come after me. But non-financial advice, people come for the gains. They hear about Bitcoin, they hear it's dead, like what's happening now, right? People are like, Bitcoin died, right? And I'm like, no. Matter of fact, it's up almost 200% since January.
How much is it now? Like 30,000, 30 plus?
$41,729. This time last year, it was like 15,000 something dollars, right?
12.
And so people start to hear about it, and they're like, "Oh man, I guess maybe I need to get in," because they're thinking about the money part. remember Matrix, right? When he's in with the kid and the kid's like, bend the spoon with your brain. And then he gives him the secret sauce. And it's like, dog, you trying to bend a spoon. You can't bend a spoon with your brain. Don't be stupid.
Right.
You just got to realize there ain't no spoon. Right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is like, how much is it worth?
Yeah.
It's like, dog, like, don't be stupid. Like, it's going to be volatile. The real thing is dollars don't exist. These are all constructs. And that's why it doesn't matter that the dollar price is different. Like your land example, right? If you have 9 Bitcoin, you have 9 Bitcoin. And in 3 years from now, you'll still have 9 Bitcoin if you don't spend it or give it away or do whatever.
Right.
And 150 years later, you'll have 9 Bitcoin.
Right.
You'll always have 9 Bitcoin.
Just the value of that asset
No, not the
will go up and down.
No. Well, it depends on what you're measuring it against.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? It's gone. If you look at a wide time frame, Bitcoin's been out for 15 years. Right? Going on 16. We're getting ready to hit our 16th birthday. No, this is 15 years. If you look at the 15-year chart, the price has pretty much just gone up. It hasn't gone down.
Right.
Now, when you zoom into small windows, like 30-day windows, maybe 3-month windows, 1-year windows, you'll see times where it drops down and drops up. But so people will be like, that's volatile, right?
Right.
My rebuttal is, well, so is the dollar.
I'm saying,
the dollar's volatile. Like, no, it's not. The dollar's worth $1. Yeah, because you're comparing it against itself.
Right.
A Bitcoin is worth a Bitcoin if I only compare it against itself.
Right.
If I compare $1 to real estate, the dollar's crashing.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Because $100,000 would buy you 100,000 square feet, let's say, 40 years ago. Now $100,000 will only buy you
40 square
feet.
40,000 square feet, right?
Yeah.
If you're lucky, right? It's the dollar's crashing against real estate.
Right.
The dollar has found general harmony with gold over the past 20 years with little spikes. Like it's going through a little spike now where it's crashing against gold. But gold has sort of flatlined.
What's crashing against gold?
The
dollar.
Oh,
This is what I'm saying. When you look at macro markets, right? Bitcoin price isn't going up.
no.
Dollar value is going down.
All day, every day.
And so when you understand that about money, this is the there is no spoon piece, right? When people confuse price and value and markets all the time, right? When you go to the store and your Oreos, the price of your Oreos go up and that's just it.
Only a fat
that's
person
the price.
would think that.
Yeah, well, I like Oreos. The price, that's price going up. When you go to the grocery store and everything is twice the amount of money, that's not the price of everything going up.
That's
Yeah.
a dollar.
That's how much shit you can buy for your dollar going down.
Purchasing
That's inflation.
power. Yeah.
Your purchasing power
Yeah.
decreases. And when everything across the world, real estate, cars, groceries, everything you want, heat, all this stuff, when that's going up, that's inflation.
Yeah.
That's dollar going down.
Yeah.
And so that's what you got to understand. So when people say like, well, what is Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin's money.
Right.
Well, why do I need, the thing you stated was like, why do I need new money? Or why do I need different money?
Right.
And that's usually my retort. It's like, well, have you ever, using a debit account, not a credit card, using your debit card,
Right.
have you directly or been with somebody who tried to spend some money off a debit card and the transaction was denied?
Yeah.
Because a debit card's money you have.
Right.
It's not credit.
Right.
That's your shit.
Right.
And when you spend it and they say no, what do they literally just tell you? You can't touch the money you have.
Right.
Right? So
But
that doesn't happen with Bitcoin. So there's a reason why you don't want the dollar versus a Bitcoin.
So,
Yeah.
so there you have it, Nate. Majority of people, now that we're at the age, but majority of people that's between 25, 30 years old, they never had a credit card.
Yeah.
Majority of them never had a credit. They don't know what
they have a Cash App and they've had their Cash App bounce back.
Yeah, but they don't know the difference between credit and debit. Like
I would say people over 30 don't know what the difference between
Yeah.
credit
that's
and
what I'm
debit
saying.
is.
So, but I'm just giving an example. That's simple example of somebody was in the store the other day. He said credit or debit. He was like, she's like, what difference does it make? And I said, just hit your code, sweetie. She's like, oh, okay. Because, so again, majority of people that we meet, in all communities, suburban, urban communities, black, white, green, purple, they just don't know about money. And a lot of times not knowing is so detrimental to where we don't think outside the box. I mean, just think about it, like you drinking bourbon, we drinking coffee. We don't
breakfast bourbons,
breakfast bourbons, but we don't even understand. And not only going to that portion, we don't understand about business. When you told me about Bitcoin, look at Bitcoin like a stock, I started looking into what stocks were. Right, that's what made me buy Ford Motor Company. I bought 200 stocks of Ford Motor Company at $3.47. And then when they got up to $38, I said, "Whoa!" I took my money off the real down. I lost some stock, but still, I was happy. You know what I mean? But I started understanding more about what stocks is and how it can go. And yes, you can go up. You damn sure can go down. But I think Bitcoin has proven itself to where it's probably the most it never hit rock bottom. A lot of them hit rock bottom.
Well, it depends on how you define rock bottom. And I would say the test to see how much you understand Bitcoin, which I would say I have more work to do with you, because if I as the teacher did my job properly, today you'd be like, you told me it was like a stock. Motherfucker, this ain't nothing like a stock.
Right.
Because it's not. That was a very easy entry point.
Right.
It's just like Ashlee's analogy of real estate, but it ain't real estate. But it's a very good analogy to start you off with.
Gotcha.
It's nothing like a stock because stocks are controlled, they're centralized.
I mean,
and
you went into telling me that too.
Most importantly, why I say that is because stocks represent equity. Right?
Right.
That means you own a piece of the control of the overall thing that you have a stock in.
Right.
Bitcoin, Ethereum, Monero, these money-based cryptos, they don't represent ownership. You could own, there can only ever be, under today's rules, 21 million, just under 21 million Bitcoin. There actually can't be 21 million Bitcoin, right? So that's another miss.
Yeah,
there's a mind blow
write
for
that
you.
down, yeah.
Not only will there never be more than 21 million, there will never be 21 million. It'll stop just short of that. So
just saying
but
that.
you could own 20,999,999 of those Bitcoin. You could have possession of those. That gives you zero say in how the network runs. You don't have equity in the network. You don't own a piece of the network. Where if you own 99.9% of Apple stock, well, now you own Apple and you get to make all the decisions. You could own all the Bitcoin and not get to make any of the decisions in the Bitcoin network. Assuming people still wanted to be around because you have it all now. But because running your own node, being a miner, being a business, these all are things that matter, you know?
Right.
And that's a huge difference why you should be like, this ain't a stock. I own all this Bitcoin and I wanted to change the code to do this.
Gotcha.
And they won't do it.
Yeah.
It's like, because nobody cares how much Bitcoin you own.
So less corruption, I'm here. That's what my brain instantly goes to, like, less
This is
corruption.
part of the decentralized argument.
Gotcha.
Right? Who controls it? Well, nobody controls it.
Okay.
And not only does nobody control it, there are several different factions depending on who you ask. Like I've heard Andreas Anopoulos, he'll name about like 5. Some people will name like 3 different entities. Either way, they're unrelated entities, and all of them have to sort of agree, or nothing happens, nothing changes. It's like Congress.
Wow. Okay. Now you bring Congress in there. Praise God. So no, you did explain something in regards of it's like stock, but you don't own, you can't control what they do, how they handle. You did say that. I do remember that. However, I'm just saying.
I'm a good teacher.
Yeah, you are. You are. Somebody had the nerve to say I'm not, and I said, you know what? That's a whole different story, but we'll talk about that later. So in teaching what is Bitcoin, the question, somebody had told me, she said, Nate don't know how to explain stuff. I said, no, Nate know how to explain exactly. Nate is probably the best explainer you will ever have about it, but it all depends, again, your comprehension level. And again, you have to be willing to be coachable. You have to be coachable. If you're not coachable, if you're not willing to listen, it's going to be hard for you to receive. And so what I explained to them was, if you want to get into Bitcoin, you can read on it yourself. But the best thing to do is have a one-on-one with Nate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You to have a better understanding for you, because once he know how you think, or like he relate things to what's your favorite thing, like what's your favorite thing, what you like, and then he could basically intervene in that and get into how you can understand it better. Am I saying that right, Nate?
I mean, you're just sitting here telling me how great I am. And
I know. I'm like,
I'll just shut up and take it.
Okay. Anyway, but no, seriously. So Nate talks to everyone like you 8 years old, but not in a derogatory manner. He just want to make sure that you understand it, right?
Yeah.
So, in saying that, I just understand, like, what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is something new that's going to keep evolving. I think it's going to keep evolving into other things, like I believe it has, with other cryptocurrencies and stuff like that. Nate did explain to me how you can tell whenever Bitcoin doing good, a lot of other things do good. Mm-hmm. Is that right, Nate?
Yeah.
Okay. And he explained to watch out for shit coins.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah.
He also explained to me that Bitcoin is something that you just got to keep investing into.
I have I was going to ask you.
Keep buying. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I don't even like that terminology.
Okay.
And I know I used to say that.
Okay.
Right. I've dropped off from people should buy Bitcoin because you don't buy Bitcoin. Right. You exchange your purchasing power from one asset to another, from dollars to euros, okay, or from euros to satoshis.
Oh, it's a good currency exchange.
It's a currency exchange. Where are you best? So another one of those, there is no spoon, right?
Yeah.
It's like there is no money. There is only future purchasing power.
Got you.
Right? And where are you going to store your future purchasing power? You can store it. Who said this? Not me. And people will know. Anyway, you could store your purchasing power in banana peels if you wanted to.
Right.
But they don't really last very long.
Right.
And so it's a pretty shitty store of value.
So I do want to ask you one question. So, like me right now, I'm buying a lot of Bitcoin. Not a lot, about $5 a day. Whenever I have $5,
you're exchanging.
I'm exchanging $5.
We don't talk about our Bitcoin purchases because we don't want to be a mark.
Okay.
But you have Bitcoin. Okay.
He has a friend who is buying.
Right. They're exchanging. But I got a question for those who believe in the purchasing power through Cash App. What happens when Cash App crash?
Exactly.
Got you. Okay. So it's best to buy from a digital wallet.
And people will be like, well, Cash App crashed and doesn't matter, insurance or whatever. And I would just tell them, look at FTX, especially if you're semi-familiar with pop culture or crypto, you know what FTX is. And FTX was a centralized entity, like Cash App, who was corrupt, unlike Cash App, as I understand it. Mm-hmm. And it was insured. It was literally, FTX was the most regulated exchange in the U.S.
Wow.
There was no more government approvals you could get besides FTX.
Wow.
And everybody who had money there has lost it all. And now the last thing I saw, don't know how factual it is, the last thing I saw though was like, all right, well, FTX owes people about $4.2 billion and the bankruptcy proceeding is for about $4.2 billion. And so people are going to get screwed. Nobody's getting their money back. Wow. So for what you said is absolutely true. Is just when people will be like, well, Cash App, what do you mean? It's insured.
Yeah, it's too big to fail.
What happens when the insurance company fails? Right?
So that's why Robert Kiyosaki has stated a while ago, gold and silver is God's money, right? Mm-hmm. And the Bitcoin is the people's money.
Well, yeah, I don't know where silver comes from. scientifically, but yeah, gold comes from stars. So that's a good analogy, right? Gold comes from stars, Bitcoin comes from people, and we can't control what stars do.
And he said fiat is for the
corrupt.
He said the weak, the corrupt. And he named several other things, but I learned that when Nate told me to research. So I learned when on YouTube, so I doing more research. And Robert Kiyosaki was speaking very highly of it. He said he wish he would have thought of that, but
I'm sure.
But the thing is,
he wishes he would have thought of Bitcoin.
Yes,
but even if he thought of it, it wouldn't really have mattered because the way that Satoshi unrolled it. He received the initial very first what is it called, subsidy?
Unspendable.
Yeah. So
his wallet received it. He can never ever spend it.
Right. So if Robert Kiyosaki would have invented it, it still wouldn't really have.
He probably looked at he probably looked at the influence that he has in the financial industry. That's why he probably would look at it.
Yeah, status maybe.
Yeah, definitely, because I'm not gonna lie, hearing him speak in the past 2 to 3 years at his events, Bitcoin rolled off his mouth so eloquently.
Yeah, but I would say he doesn't really understand Bitcoin. Same with the Michael Saylor types.
Fired.
No, it's not a shot fired. It's that Bitcoin. I would argue, and you've heard me argue this. Nobody understands Bitcoin because the people who are most technically and educationally adept to understand it and have been around since the beginning, right? They admittingly don't understand it, right? This isn't like iPhone manufacturing, cell phone manufacturing. It's all right, we understand that there's some standards that we've agreed upon. The brightest minds in the world don't really fully comprehend it, and they literally go on Twitter today at this Blockheight 821641. Go on Twitter, look at the conversation happening right now. You have core developers, people who have been working on the code that makes Bitcoin work for 10 plus years, arguing with each other about what Bitcoin is. What's a valid transaction? What's an invalid transaction? What's spam? What's fees? Wire fees? Wire block? They don't get it. So if they don't get it, there's no way I can get it in full. And there's definitely no way Robert Kiyosaki can get it. And the reason I'm sort of shots fired at that is because I've been around long enough to see when Bitcoin first came out, you had a bunch of what we called cypherpunks, which are people who are into I'll say cryptography. That's the proper word. People who are porn for them is a math textbook. Right? That's how deep into math you have to be.
Don't say it like that, Ashlee, but go ahead. She said,
So you have these technically minded people who have what I believe is a good base understanding of economics.
Right.
But they're really cryptographers. And, economics is math, so it's I'm not trying to undercut their understanding of economics, but they're cryptographers first. Then in 2016, 17, we had the block size wars. And that's when you had people who, the Robert Kiyosakis, sort of go up against the cypherpunks, the people who are just really understand the math. Right? He understands the economics,
and they understand,
but he doesn't understand the math. And they understand the math, but I'll give it to Robert Kiyosaki and that elk, the Michael Saylors. There's things about economics they get that the cryptographers don't.
Right.
And it shifted. In 2017, it went from being technically driven to financially driven.
Gotcha.
And so I say that because a lot of things I hear Robert Kiyosaki say, Michael Saylor say, anybody who's on the investment side of Bitcoin or any crypto, really, it's not a Bitcoin only issue. They say things that make economic sense, but they don't understand the limits of the technology or what that really means, and vice versa.
So wouldn't that basically go for almost everything that we deal with in the sense of understanding? Most people don't know what podcast is. They don't know originally what podcast was. They don't understand that podcasting is evolving. It's probably only at 6 to 8% on the potential. You know what I mean? Went from podcasting was originally a pre-recorded audio message, basically.
Yeah. It was a blog and vocal that you pre-recorded.
Yep, and then people listen to at their leisure.
It's the old school. What does McDonald's sell?
Right. You already know what that is, don't you, Ashlee? Mm-hmm. I know you know.
Real estate.
There you go.
Right. Yeah, we train them well. Yeah, if you don't, when you come to like the climate change, part of that argument is like, well, it comes to farming, we got to feed now 8 billion people, right? And it's like, all right, you'll hear some people talk about sustainable farming. Those tend to be the climate change activists. And then you have this thing called regenerative farming. Those tend to be, I'm not going to say climate change deniers because they're not really doing that, but they've already understood this problem. They understand if I have an acre of land, a satoshi of land, right? It's like I need to be able to farm on this forever. I can't keep yielding the same crop over and over again. The soil, it destroys the soil.
Right.
They don't care about global warming. They don't care about all that. I'm not saying that in a manner of like they're dumb or something.
Right,
it's
just in what
they
works
just
for
understand
them.
like, hey, I need to be able to produce food. So for this year, I'm going to produce it on this acre. Next year, I'm going to move my herds. I'm going to move my crops over to this acre to let this acre heal.
Right.
And they know that's regenerative. And now I know out of these acres of land, I can circulate it.
Exactly.
They don't have to be concerned about climate change to know that. Right. But then you got people who have never farmed before. And they're like, well, this is killing the earth because, yeah, there are farmers who do it jacked up. Right. But it's what are you really selling? What are you really doing? And when it comes to money is made up. We've made all forms of money up.
Yeah.
You're not going to go out into space and naturally find money. Like, oh, let's grab this asteroid and find money.
Yeah.
Right? It's not going to happen. Right. So we make that up. And then the problem with like fiat, like where dollars are now, we'll watch movies. Like, I like Marvel movies and DC movies. Yes, I even like DC movies. Right?
Now I do.
He's like, I said it.
I said it. I've taken a stand. There are people who will argue to death about the logic and how a human spider works. Right? And they argue about the inconsistency of this totally stupid original idea. Right? That is the same thing as what fiat is, right? It's like you're arguing, the people you're talking about are questioning whether Bitcoin has value. And it's like, wait, if you're going to apply these logic rules, right? You need something to back it to make it worth something. All right, apply that logic to the thing you use. You can't pick and choose. You can't be like, Marvel movies are great. Right, even though they have these inconsistencies, but Harry Potter is whack because one spell didn't cohere with whatever was in book one or whatever. It's like, all right, you're making two different arguments. You're trying to have a cake and eat it too type thing. It's the same thing.
Offer two things that don't even exist.
Offer two things that don't even exist, and money doesn't exist. We make it up.
We do because we the one who give the dollar value. We the one who give everything value. Basically,
we give everything value. Yeah. The difference between Bitcoin and every other form of money is that Bitcoin, as again I credit him often, Andreas Antonopoulos said,
knew it was coming.
Bitcoin is a set of rules without rulers. And that's the first time we've ever had that.
Gotcha.
You got this set of rules that it's opt-in money. We can all agree, like, here's the rules up front.
Right.
And you can say, I like these rules or I don't. If you don't like them, don't use it. It's cool. But if you do like them, when you hop in, the rules aren't going to change on you. Right? If you owned all the Bitcoin, you can't change the rules.
Gotcha.
Right?
Because even though that's the part of the blockchain technology, correct? That it's non-edible. It's
part of the blockchain network.
Right? But it's non-edible, correct?
It's not editable without consensus.
Now, who control the consensus? So
everybody. There's 5 of us in this room. 4 of us.
I mean, Nate,
there's 4 of us in this room.
No more
Mine
drinking.
too.
What?
There's 2 of us here, right?
Right.
There's 4 of us in this room. If we want to make a decision, and the rule set is all of us need to agree, well, then who gets to make the decision? You can propose whatever idea you want to.
Right.
You got to convince all of us to agree.
Gotcha.
That's how Bitcoin works. That's how Ethereum works. That's how all these networks
Is
work.
it how blockchain?
And that's called consensus, right?
It's not how blockchain works, because blockchain is just a spreadsheet.
Right.
Right. This is why I people put too much into the blockchain. Is like saying the Excel workbook.
Well, the reason why they do, Nate, well, I can say you
Because
have
they don't know what they're talking about.
That's evident. But I'm talking about everything has the word block in it, and people try to refer everything to the source on which was spoken in the beginning for what they know.
Yeah.
So they see the blockumentary. They see you talking about blocks and block that, and you the president of the blockchain, Detroit blockchain.
Through our own name.
I know, at us, in our own face.
I'm sorry.
In all
in the face.
3 of our faces. Yeah.
So what I'm just saying is, so people, we think, and you told me this, Nate, that we think people smarter. We actually give people more credit than what they really deserve. People are not that smart.
I'm going to say
very carefully.
I'm going to say things are more complex than people expect. And that ends up being the issue.
And we're easily persuaded and influenced.
Well, that's crazy to me. I think life itself, and I think things is more simpler than what we think it is. When we just, I think it's just simple. I question people this. I say, if you don't question the simplest thing, and you don't question how the hell I'm breathing, something is wrong with you.
But the simplest things are the most complex, I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, it's that thing of, right. My first take when I was getting into Bitcoin education and crypto education is when people start asking super complex, like I get the question, like, what gives Bitcoin value? All right, cool. Well, what is Bitcoin? It's money. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but nothing backs it. Well, nothing backs the dollar, right? What backs the dollar? And then we go through that. But then they start getting to like these super quasi technical questions that, not that they don't have a right to ask the questions, but I know a lot of these individuals, the people I know,
don't even know
and
to
it's
ask
like,
the question.
well, no, because they are asking the question. My thing is like, all right, why at some point for some people, why does that matter? When text messaging became a thing, nobody was asking, well, I see you had a message and you sent it to me over this text message thing. Cool. But, like, how does the transmission work? It's like, why do you care? It got from you to me, right? And so it's great that...
Like, who else seen it?
Yeah, it's great that people want to dive down these rabbit holes, but at the same token, maybe you don't need to... Sometimes it's better not to teach people something.
Ooh.
Right? And it's like, you don't need to know that.
Ooh, until they learn it on their
just
own.
know it works.
Right.
Do you have value here? You want to compare your value in dollars. Do you see the dollar value? Is it up or down? All right, there it is. Can you send it from A to B? There it is. Why do you care how it works? You didn't care how anything else in life works. You don't ask. If you ask people when they press their gas pedal, or even more importantly, their brake pedal in the car, how it works, they don't know.
Yeah. Well,
and they don't care.
I definitely would say this because I had the same philosophy when I do business, when I do marketing. There's one young lady I did a book, Dr. Sabrina. I did a book for her, right? Mm-hmm. Book cover. She said, Miles, I don't like that. I said, it's not for you to like. You didn't hire me for you to like the book.
You should say that about music all the time, right?
Exactly.
It's like, man, I don't know. It's like, are you buying all your albums?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, who cares what you think?
I don't
Make
care.
the record and let the people who know how to sell stuff sell it.
Sell it. And that's this whole thing. Because I tell people all the time, if I'm doing your music and you tell me you don't like it, when you go get your transmission or car worked on, you be like, are you using a particular wrench? Mm-hmm. What kind of nails or screws you using? Well, don't question me about what I'm doing. Right. I've always been like that because I realize people if you give them an option, if you give them a chance to talk, an opinion of their own, they will. So I choose not to give them no fucking. Oh, excuse me. I choose not to give them an opinion.
Permissionless.
I like that.
I don't give them no opinion on to do what you paid me to do. So Nate, I do get it. You had told me one of the first things you had told me, and someone else told me to do was it's a thing on YouTube called "What Is Money." Was you the one talking about that? It's a whole video about what is money, and it's like
sure there's a lot of videos.
It's like 7.
We got a video on it.
It's like It's like it's a 7 or 8 series of it, and it's talking about the process or the beginning of money to how it is now, going into cryptocurrencies, and I think people need to start with reading and watching things first. Like me, I'm a reader.
Or listening to our podcast, like What Is Money?
Yeah, listen to What Is Money. What episode is that?
Yeah.
I think it's number 1.
Yeah.
Number 1. But no, seriously, I think people need to start in places. You know, when people meet me and want to do business with me or get in our ecosystem, first thing is do read. Because reading is not going to work.
Yeah.
It's
Well, you got to lay down the foundation. What is a blockchain?
Yeah.
I disagree with all that.
You think so?
I think that when I talk to most people, and I've talked to people of all walks from you and me, we've sat across the table from multimillionaires, and I'm not talking about millionaires who have multiple millions. I'm talking about millionaires who made millions of dollars, then became dirt ass broke, and then again made millions of dollars. Like they know how to be millionaires, right? Down to people who are going to be blue collar workers or welfare supported people forever, right? We've talked to all these scopes of people, and the thing they all have in common, is it's like, here's what's important to me in life. Maybe that's family, maybe that's my hobbies, maybe that's whatever.
Right.
Everything else, it's like, just fucking work. Just work the way it's supposed to work so I can focus on the shit that's important to me.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't think when it comes to something like money, even though it's man-made, most people, almost all people, shouldn't have to give a fuck about how it works.
True.
They just need to make sure it's dependable when they need it. And that's sort of the situation we're in right now today. Money's not dependable when people need it. In the U.S., we don't, as a society, we don't need it. We are rich as hell. We are the global 1%. You can be the bottom 99th percentile of the U.S. Right. You're still in the upper 5% globally.
Yeah.
Go talk to somebody in Haiti. If you're sitting on a corner collecting dollars on a freeway here in Detroit, go compare your lifestyle to somebody poor in Haiti, somebody middle class in Haiti. You're probably doing better because at least there might be a shelter for you if you need it.
Well,
at least there's somebody who's willing to give you money.
Well,
at least there's not somebody with a gun trying to take you out because it's an oppressive regime or something.
Yeah.
We have it pretty damn good.
I tell everybody, Detroit, especially in our area, we are spoiled people. I just left Philly. I left Jersey. Left Baltimore. Left Atlanta. Detroiters are very privileged. It don't take 39 cities to make one city.
Right. So
yeah.
So that when it comes to what people need to do, I'm the type of, if I was privileged enough to call myself a revolutionary at all, I'm the type of revolutionary who understands it's going to take 1% of the revolution of the population to be the revolutionaries. Everybody else is just going to follow along.
Whatever you do, right?
Whatever you do. Agree. So if you ask, I want to have an answer for you. Right. But I don't think most people should want to know, because who has time? They don't have politics and finance. Sure. Just fucking work.
Right. So when I say read, I'm talking about read is just an exercise and position of your brain. It makes you want to think more, and if everybody just become workers, and then you have to become a dictator when you just got workers. You know what I mean?
Well, not true. You can build a system. We started as a decentralized population. Before there were societies, we were hunters and gatherers. That was decentralized. You wanted to eat, go find food. You know what I mean? That's as simple as that worked. Then we decided to specialize in tasks, and we've centralized a lot of things off. Now, some of us are on a mission to re-decentralize pieces of that.
Yeah.
And that way you don't need to know. If you don't, most people aren't thinkers, or they're not thinkers about the things I think are important.
Right.
And that's cool, because the things I think are important, they don't think is important. And I'm not thinking about their shit.
Like bourbon in the morning.
Right.
Bourbon in the morning is the best, because it's always drinking time somewhere.
Yes.
And I celebrate global unity.
And warming.
I do. I hate winter.
So if we
do not hate winter. I swear to God, he don't hate winter.
So if we have the question, what is Bitcoin really?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like we answered that adequately for you?
I think you definitely answered it to where I will have more questions. So give me another month and I'll be back with a list of shit for y'all. Because I think most people, you know me, I'm gonna go back and tell people, they're like, I've seen it, but I still don't understand it. Then I'm and then I ask y'all more questions.
So if someone were to ask you, what is Bitcoin like?
It's money.
Right now, that would be your answer.
It's money.
Okay.
I think it's money, and you have to find where you can exchange your Bitcoin to purchase, or to have purchasing power. And you have to have, if they don't sell things or exchange things through Bitcoin, that place is not for you, and you can't use Bitcoin there.
It is what it is.
Yep. Right here on Blockument.
Right here in the Blockument. So, closing it out, if you have more questions, where can they find us and ask the questions?
We are on Twitter at The Blockument. We are on TikTok, Facebook, also at The Blockument. YouTube, you guessed it, at The Blockument.
At The Blockument. Branding.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep, we're all over the place.
All right, so hit us up. Tell us what you think Bitcoin is. Or, if you got more questions on what is it, ask us.
Yep.
Maybe we'll do a show on it. Maybe, you see, we let anybody on this mug. So if you want to be on the show, let us know. We might just throw you on here, because it doesn't take much.
That's a good answer.
And until next time, come for the riches.
Stay for the revolution.
Peace.
I thought you was going to rhyme it with another word.